Hi, I'm Graham Barrett, and it's my pleasure to introduce this panel discussion on understanding consumer purchasing behaviour and building meaningful relationships with customers, brought to you by the customer engagement platform Emarsys, an SAP company. According to Emarsys' unPredictions research, almost half of American marketers say that their main priority for 2022 is to invest time in getting to know their customers better. So on today's show, we'll endeavour to do just that by hearing from three US shoppers, Robin, Joyia and James, who will give us an insight into their spending habits and tell us what they want and expect from the brands they shop with. We'll also need the brand perspective on the issues raised, so I'm pleased to introduce Gregg Brockway, CEO of Chairish, and Dwivedi, VP Digital Products at Saatva. And completing the panel is Meghann York, Global Head of Product Marketing Solutions at Emarsys. Meghann, could you start off by telling us a little bit about Emarsys and what marketers should be focusing on in 2022?
Sure. Happy to be here. And thanks so much, Graham and Gregg and Vab. So Emarsys is, like you said, the customer engagement platform. And what we really strive to do is empower marketers to reach their customers on every conceivable channel with highly personalized offers and information, in order to help marketers meet their, bottom line metrics they have, and also in order for them to, build relationships with those customers that then lead into customer loyalty in the long run. And like you said, Graham, we just released some research at the beginning of the year where we talked to lots of our customers and lots of our customers' customers to kind of find out what were going to be the priorities or what should be the priorities, going into 2022. And lots of interesting findings. I know that we will dig in today, but some surprising around marketers' role in customer experience, and maybe some not so surprising that email is still a formidable channel. So very excited for the conversation today.
Vab, you've spoken this year about the future of customer experience and the importance of investing in digital transformation. I'd be curious to know how you're driving this at Saatva, and could you also just give us a brief overview of who Saatva are?
Yeah, absolutely. So Saatva is actually the first direct-to-consumer mattress company established almost 12 years ago. So sort of innovators in the space of taking a product that you traditionally expect to go into a physical store and find, and bringing that digitally to our customers. Of course, doing it in that manner provides the company a lot of efficiencies, and we hope to be able to pass those along to the customers. So we're excited about continuing on that trend, and it's a lot of what I spoke about in detail this year as well.
How are you driving the customer experience at Saatva? Do you want to give us a few more words about that?
Absolutely. So, customer experience at Saatva for us really is centered in terms of omnichannel. So in addition to, of course, coming to saatva.com, we have viewing rooms open in multiple locations across the country with more expansion planned there. Of course, you can call in and chat. So multiple touch points that allow us to connect with our customers. And our underlying goal across all those channels is to make it as seamless as possible, regardless of whether it's in person or digitally. We want the customers to have the same level of service and experience across all of those channels.
Gregg, you have an innovative business model at Chairish of recommerce. Could you tell us a little bit more about this, and why is there such an appetite for recommerce at present, do you think?
Absolutely, and thank you for the question. Thank you for inviting me here. So Chairish is a leading online emporium where designers and tastemakers shop for exceptional home furnishings, decor, and art. And our business is getting pushed forward by three big macro trends. One of them is just the offline to online e-commerce migration. That's been, supported and accelerated by the crazy thing the world has been through with the pandemic and supply chain challenges. But underlying all of that is sustainability and the growing interest in all things sustainable and sustainability in general. And Chairish plays an important part in supporting recommerce. 85% of what we do is to help home furnishings and online goods find new homes and second lives. So we're an important part of recommerce and sustainability for home furnishings. And the growing interest in sustainability is really driven by much of what the world's been going through. It's more important to younger shoppers, but it's increasingly important to everybody. And we're proud that that's part of the Chairish mission, an important part of the Chairish mission.
Great. So we've heard now from our panel. It's time to hear firsthand from consumers about what they want and expect from brands in 2022.
Hi, my name is Robin Curian. I'm 40 years old. I'm originally from Massachusetts. I am single and I have no kids. When I'm purchasing things, I'm still very old school where I love walking into a store, going into the fitting room, trying on clothes, feeling the actual fabric. I do love the in-store, but I also realize I don't have a lot of time always. So yeah, I do both.
I'm Joyia D. Bradley. I'm an artist living in New York, 51 years old. I have one child. She's 9 going on 18. It's great. I'm married happily. That's good. Now everybody's getting back to this new normal that we've got going on. I'm seeing that I've leveled off on purchases a bit, but I'm also more mindful and planning what I exactly need. And so now I'm all about getting rid of stuff and only using what I need and only buying brands or purchases that I know I can get through. So it's changing, but I still find myself buying more online than I do actually going out and doing things. And so for me, it's brought my love of delivery to a high expectation and excitement. So there you go.
I'm James. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, but I have lived in Brooklyn Heights for the last 30 years, where my wife and I raised our boys. They're both now grown. My oldest son has lived in his own place for about 4 years now. My youngest son is just coming home from college, so he'll be staying with us for the foreseeable future, hopefully not too long. When it comes to purchasing, those things that I'm very familiar with, that I already know what it is, it has a model number, a part number, I'm really happy to buy online. But the things that I'm going to wear, the things that are more personal, or I really need to see it, hold it, put it on, feel it, see the construction, the color, the fit, all of that, and understand it. I'm always struck by the trend toward online shopping because I don't have much luck with online shopping. A couple of key exceptions to that would be the in-app purchases. Like somehow Instagram really has my number. The stuff that it shows me is just beautiful. Now, I'm sure it's not beautiful to everyone, but it's beautiful to me. So I've discovered a couple new brands that way. Anytime I'm buying something, the things that are important are color, materiality, the feel of it, quality, if it's a garment, how it fits, if it's furniture, how it sits. I think there's a lot of tangible elements that may be subtle, but you want to review with the object in front of you or with the garment on you to know how it's going to fit or feel. And then there's the intangible side too. I mean, I think with a retail experience, you get the opinion of other people. A shop clerk helping you, they introduce you to things about it that you may not have seen, aspects of it, colors, features that it has that might be more appealing. I never mind being sold something that I want anyway.
So those are our shoppers. Lots of interesting things said there. And I guess the one key takeaway is that they all have different ways of wanting to shop. So getting to know your customer is absolutely crucial. Gregg, at Chairish, everything on your site has been screened by your curators, which I guess automatically gives you a great and a strong connection to your customers. What else do you do to build a meaningful relationship with them?
So we're a marketplace. We're a curated marketplace. So we start by taking things that we think are going to be important, relevant, and interesting for our community. So that's kind of the foundation. And then we do as much as we can to make it even more engaging. Trust and engagement, what marketplaces are built around. And the way we advance is we start with interesting, relevant product. And then we merchandise it into collections. We promote it through our blog. We have an award-winning podcast. We bring in tastemakers to curate and celebrate and explore what's interesting for them. And then we push it out through email and increasingly by trying to personalize the shopping experience to make it as relevant as possible for the people who come to us based on what we can intuit that they like and interesting and relevant. So it's all about taking a broad assortment of product and helping people as quickly as possible find the things that are most relevant for the design challenge that they're trying to solve. So it's not there's no silver bullet. It's a lot of little things that hopefully add up to an engaging experience. And it's all supported by also, world-class customer support. We pay close attention to what we're doing that customers like, and we try and address the things that are making people unhappy. And we're proud that we are earning consistently world-class net promoter scores from our audience, and we monitor that very closely.
Yeah, sure. And you tell me, but I guess there must be a really great sense of community amongst your customers as well. Would that be fair to say?
We think about our business as a community. Yes, we're a community of buyers and sellers, and helping them explore exceptional home furnishing products. So these are people who value design, who either are collectors or who are people who are trying to solve and create comfortable, engaging, chic, and unique living spaces. And so that is a broad, interesting community of creative types who love design.
Definitely. Yeah, thanks for that, Gregg. Vab, if I could just come to you, just on this subject of customer engagement, how do you do that at Saatva?
Yeah, I would echo everything that Gregg just said from an online perspective. For our business, we also have the opportunity to touch our customers off the website as well. So whether they come into one of our physical viewing rooms, whether that be in Manhattan or Los Angeles or any of the other locations that we have, or if they pick up the phone and call or decide to chat, one of our underlying goals is to make sure that our customers have a seamless experience and it feels the same no matter what channel that they're coming to us through. We take a lot of pride in ensuring that whatever our primary brand value propositions are, they're coming through to the customers. White glove service is a big part of our value prop for customers. We don't sell bed in a box. We're not just going to leave a king size mattress on your front door and wish you the best of luck. So we're really focused on making sure that comes through very clearly to our customers, that above all else, the customer service aspect is what we really want to make sure that we project throughout all of our channels.
Sure. Meghann, Gregg touched upon it earlier. He was talking about the importance of email in their marketing, and that's still really crucial for brands today, isn't it? Think other things may have overtaken it, but why is email such an important tool for marketers?
Well, it's listening to Gregg and Vab talk. They talked about trust and engagement and loyalty and this re-importance of first-party data. And that email address is really the key to unlocking all of that first-party data, right? So, that's how we, at the very, very rudimentary level, that's how we know who a customer is, who they are, and allows us to understand their shopping behaviors and their browsing behaviors and what they put in their cart and what they eventually buy. And all of that helps to understand our customer and their preferences a little bit better, to create, wonderful online and offline experiences. But email is still such an important part of activating that first party data. Customers still say that email is their preferable method of interacting with a customer. And people know when they go in and they check their email, there's a lot of buying intent there, right? So, we may not be checking those promotional emails all the time every day, but once we go into a store, we think, I wonder what that store has been talking, or onto a website, I wonder what they've been talking to me about for the last week or so. Can I use any offers? Do they have anything interesting for me? And so I think, putting in innovative ways to grab that email address, to continue learning about that customer, and then activating those really personalized offers or information in the email channel. We always say what's old is new again, but really, all of the changes in consent and privacy and all that has sort of bubbled email back up to this really, really important channel that we're thinking about. How do we do, some big innovation there when a channel that's been around for a really long time?
Absolutely. We know that email is still huge because we spoke to some of the shoppers directly. Emarsys asked 2,000 American shoppers about their spending habits in 2022 and found that 1 in 10, which is very surprising, want personalised products that are bespoke to them. Almost half of consumers say email is their preferred contact method by retailers. Here's what one of our consumer panel said about brands contacting them.
My favorite brands communicate with me all the time, every single way that they can. Text, email, just popping open social media, they'll come up. And the latest one that I found that they're doing is, if I'm watching TV, for example, you'll have a source of 3 ads that come up and they're like, go ahead and pick one. And whatever you pick, they start to tailor the ads that are going to come to you to try and market to you. I think it's kind of brilliant because at least you're not inundated with stuff you have no clue and don't want to watch. So the messages are personalized, and I absolutely expect them to be. Because if they're not, that's when I get really ticked off. I'm like, how did you wind up in my email and what are you doing here? It usually turns me off to a brand that comes through that I have no clue how they got there or what they want. So if it is personalized or it's something along the lines that aligns with my spirit, then I'm more likely to pay attention to that particular brand.
The brands that I have shopped for online do send me emails that are customized to me. They send me things that are similar to things I've bought before, so that the implication is, well, if you liked this shirt, you might like this jacket in the same color, or this kind of thing. And I think it's somewhat successful. I mean, I always have need of something. And if it tumbles into my inbox from a brand that I know, I'm more likely to just push play and let that arrive than to put in the effort to go out and find something new. When these brands that I purchase from do send me emails, they often are, hey, James, you liked this. Yeah, and I think that's okay. I enjoy that, actually, and I realize it's a computer of some kind, it's an algorithm, but that's okay. It's a brand that's interacting with a human being, and so I do like it when it's personalized in that way. I've also ordered things for my wife online, which means that sometimes with some frequency, I get emails with skirts, dresses, handbags. That's when it's a little funny. It's a little strange.
But shoppers say it's not just the way brands communicate with us, it's also about their ethos. Here's what our panel said about what brands can do to get their loyalty.
I think it's really important to make sure that your brands are socially and environmentally knowledgeable. I think it would be kind of sad if you're a fan of a brand and they don't even acknowledge what's happening in our world. It's important, I think. Yeah, especially the times that we're living. I think you do have to be conscious of stuff like that.
The brands themselves, yes, I do want them environmentally conscious, right? Sometimes that does not align with my pocketbook. You might be a little low on funds and it's $15 as opposed to, hey, that really nice that, they're giving back to the community, but it's $35 and you need it tomorrow. What are you going to do? We try. As a consumer, it is up to you to do the research. What people put out in their marketing can be true. Sometimes it also can be a great spin job, as we say.
You mentioned it earlier, Gregg. The circular economy and sustainability are, the very ethos of Chairish, aren't they, really? Why is that resonating more and more with customers?
So we're really great. What started for us as a passion around innovative design and unique and one-of-a-kind product has touched so many people for different reasons. One of the most powerful current reasons is because it is supporting the growing interest in all things sustainable. The world's been through some really challenging times, and there's a growing appreciation that sustainability and being kinder to the earth is an important value. And so what we've been trying to help people do is to accomplish their design goals and create, interesting living spaces, but do it in a way that is kinder to the earth. So what has attracted people to Chairish is because we're an interesting place to find surprising and delightful things. And what keeps them coming back is because when they buy things from us, they can feel like they're supporting. It's a smarter, stylish, friendlier to the earth way of buying and furnishing their home. The circular economy is a buzzword, but what it really means is helping items that find second and third lives. It's shocking and horrifying that almost 12 million tons of home furnishings winds up in a landfill every year, and much of that could be repurposed, reused, and inspire others. So there's what we try and do is first help them recognize that buying vintage and antique is kinder and gentler to the earth. And if they can't do that, buy something that's high quality and can be enduring, that they can pass on to others. There's a negative cycle of fast furniture where you buy something cheap, you use it for a year or two, and you throw it away. And we think there's a better way of furnishing your home that's more supportive of this growing interest in all things sustainable.
Yeah. And when you talk about sustainable, obviously we think about the things you've just spoken about, the environment and reusing objects and furniture. But it's also about sustaining business, isn't it? Because you deal with a lot of small businesses. So you're really aiding, and would it be fair to say saving them in certain instances, certainly during recent times?
During recent times, there have been some very dark days. Much of the home furnishings industry is made up of small businesses, whether it's stores or. And during the dark days when things had shut down, we were grateful that we were one of the few ways they were continuing to put food on the table. So for us, this has all been a very difficult time, but it was a bit of a silver lining for us to know that we were, by powering through these difficult times, we were actually helping others in this broader design. Many reasons to feel good about what we do. We try and encourage shopping locally. We try and encourage and help businesses manage through this transition from a purely offline world to an omni-channel online and offline world, which is the future of all things, all types of commerce. And we think there's a positive path through that for everyone.
Yeah, and I think that might resonate with you as well, Vab, because, would you like to tell us a little bit about how you're utilizing technology to help your customers?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Meghann touched on email a little bit, and obviously the efficiency of email from a branding perspective is very important. In our business, the life cycle and the customer journey is actually quite long. The research process is pretty long, especially since we're selling a product that traditionally folks would go physically into a store. They want to touch and feel. And so from a technology perspective, what we're trying to do is better understand customers' intent and what their questions are, and then digitally try to replicate that experience of going into a store as much as possible. And so, the different views that we can show on products, the ability to engage using augmented reality, seeing product in your space, understanding how it's going to fit the aesthetic. It's not just a mattress that you might be buying from us. It could be, an upholstered bed frame, additional items that complete the look of the space that you're outfitting. And technology plays a very important part in bringing that to life, letting customers feel like they understand exactly what it's going to look like and feel like once they get it set up into their home. And so that is something that we're definitely investing a lot of money in and feel like it's something that can really help to differentiate us in the marketplace and make customers feel even more comfortable when they make this purchase. We try to give them as much comfort as possible with our post-purchase support, whether that be around our returns and exchanges. But the best return is one that you can prevent because you've got a happy customer from the beginning. So that's really where the focus is, and technology plays a big part in that.
Yeah, sure. What about you, Gregg? I mean, does any of that resonate with you in terms of the technology that you're utilizing at Chairish? Obviously, we're talking about vintage items that are being resold, but in terms of the platform, I guess technology is key, right?
We're trying to use technology to make it easier for people to feel confident that they're making the right purchase. And that is, in home furnishings, augmented reality has been very powerful. Being able to see what something's going to look like in your own is a great way of helping get confident that this is the right purchase for you. Having accurate, extensive descriptions of the object is helpful. Helping people identify more things like this, which is sort of going down the path of personalizing the shopping experience, is also technology driven and an important part of creating a more engaging, trustworthy, easy to use shopping experience. And then, we're entirely focused on the home furnishings market because there's still so many unsolved problems when you're talking about a digital shopping experience. And we think the tools that Vab is talking about and Meghann's talking about too of newer tools like augmented reality, virtual reality, and then older standby tools like email are all powerful ways to increasingly engage, bring people back, show them things that are going to make them happy with their purchases going forward. And if you make someone happy, you're right, they don't want to return their item, and they'll hopefully come back to you in the future again for more.
Meghann, it'd be great to understand what are the benefits that AI can bring to the marketer?
Yeah, so when we first introduced AI, the whole conversation was, are the machines going to take over our jobs as marketers? And there was a lot of trepidation there. But actually, we know that marketing teams are so resource constrained that really what we're seeing is that marketers are starting to embrace AI as really just an extension of their team. So, Gregg and Vab have great use cases here, right? They both have businesses where having that one-to-one human interaction, whether it's helping somebody, define the right style and piece of furniture for their home or the right mattress, those are all kind of, white glove, as Vab said, type of businesses that are sometimes have been hard to translate that kind of experience over to the digital world. And AI can help do that, right? We can start kind of digitally asking consumers, what are you interested in? What's your decorating style like? How many hours of sleep do you get? Those types of things, and learning about the things they're interested in and being able to recommend those products online or in an app or an email digitally, kind of creating that consultative experience that I know is really important for both of your businesses. So that's kind of the customer experience, aspect of AI, but there's also really the inner workings of our marketing departments that are influenced by AI as well. With every click on a website, a customer is creating a piece of data about themselves that we can learn from. And it's just nearly impossible really, for a human to go in and digest all of that data and then get insights from it and understand what we can learn from it or what we should do with it. And so what we're seeing is that, businesses are using AI to understand what customers should they be speaking to next, who is likely to make a purchase, who is likely to unsubscribe or churn as a customer, and using those insights to get really, a lot smarter about their marketing. So AI impacts, the customer experience, but also how we operate more effectively and efficiently as marketing teams as well.
Fab, what I'd be really curious to know from a brand perspective, from a Saatva perspective, is AI something you speak about on a daily basis in team meetings and the like?
Well, I think we're past the point of necessarily speaking about the technology because we're actively leveraging it. I think one of the most important places is in our data. So like most companies, we have more data than we know what to do with. We have an abundance of data, and our goal is to turn that into an abundance of insights. And one of the ways that we do that is by leveraging the power of machine learning to better distill all of that data across the different points of the customer journey. We have a very long life cycle of research, consideration, purchase, and post-purchase support, and tons of first-party data that we need to really aggregate and better understand what customer intent is. And so machine learning and AI play a pretty critical part, not just in understanding the customer, but of course serving up more relevant digital experiences as well.
I think the promise of AI is to help the people who need answers get them faster and more easily. So data is becoming increasingly overwhelming, and the machine getting smarter at helping us figure out how to get our important questions answered. So we don't talk about AI or machine learning specifically at our meetings or our staff meetings, but under the covers, as we are working to process that ever more quickly, it's becoming increasingly relevant to how we job. At the end of the day, we're trying to answer important questions for our customers, and the faster we can help our team get the strategies for how to do that, the better off the whole business will be.
Yeah, Meghann, I'll come to you about how we can harness this data. But Vab, what are your thoughts? Because obviously Saatva was one of the very first direct-to-consumer brands. So I'm guessing that gave you a lot of first-party data from the get-go. How are you leveraging that data, and what are the plans moving forward?
Yeah, so as I mentioned previously, the customer journey, essentially the life cycle, is quite long when you talk about a mattress purchase. And surprisingly, the vast majority of it is in research and consideration, really in high-level research. And so our ability to start engaging with customers happens very early on. And the first-party data really helps us understand intent at every step of the way. What we're able to do is build connections with customers, not just by positioning products or services, by also just talking to them generally about sleep health and wellness. We have an extensive library of content that we share with our customers about better sleep and things that may be impacting their day-to-day if they're not getting the right type of rest. And at every step of the customer journey, our intent is to be as relevant as possible. So the first-party data really helps us pin down where is this customer right now in that journey, and what's the most important thing that we can show to them. And going back to tie it together with AI or machine learning, we're able to leverage that technology to go from targeting customers based on wisdom of the crowd and getting closer to that one-to-one personalized experience that really highlights the relevancy for them.
Meghann, would you like to come in there? Because I think that probably echoes a lot of the thoughts that you have about harnessing all this data.
Yeah, I mean, I think as we talk about consumer expectations, consumers are expecting a value exchange now with our brands. So consumers have said for a very long time that they were happy to give up their, information if it meant that they were going to get something back that was valuable to them, whether that was an article recommendation or a personalized product recommendation or an offer. But I think, as a marketing space, we may have pushed the limits a little bit far, with some of the tactics that we were employing. And so then that's when a lot of the, privacy and consent and regulation conversations started happening. But I truly believe that if customers are experiencing that value exchange, as Vab was talking about, this is a significant purchase. If they're able to say, you know what, every time I go onto the website, I'm learning something valuable that's making it clearer and clearer for me that this is a really good purchase for me to make. So that, that's building trust. That customer feels like they're getting their needs met. And all of those things go to building loyalty. So, all of these, the customer doesn't care what's going on in the back end for us to be learning all of these things about their intention or what they're interested in. All they see is that experience that they have. And if they're getting value from it, then we've done our jobs and, and leveraged AI in the right way to be able to offer that to the customer.
Yeah. And what do we all think about, what the future holds for the customer? Because I guess, that's why all these things are in play. As Meghann says, this is what all this technology leads to, isn't it? It's presenting something to sell to those consumers. Gregg and Vab, I mean, you're both pivotal kind of figures in the home sector. Where do you see the future for your businesses and the home sector in general? Gregg, maybe come to you first. What does the future hold for Chairish?
Well, I think consumer expectations are just going up. And it's absolutely right that to be a delightful brand, you have to make people feel like they're getting more than they're putting into the effort of using you as a shopping destination. And technology plays an important role in that. It's helping to improve and make it easier to find what they're looking for. It's how we try to make it easier to support people getting what they're purchased faster than the competition. And when problems do arise, it helps us to address them more quickly with either the most relevant information or the right process. So I think the future is bright in the sense of, technology is helping, brands that are adopting it to deliver more value in experience. But it's also challenging because that means that we all have to be investing in always trying to push ourselves to do what we do even better. And that's hard.
And I guess from your point of view, Gregg, that the appetite for recommerce is just going to continue. I guess that's what you hope for, but that's probably what you expect as well, is it, with the way the world is going?
I think the home in general is more to people of the future than it did in the past. It's no longer just the place to eat and sleep. It has to do all sorts of other things. So, and in addition to that, I think how people furnish their homes is increasingly important, as it is with how they dress and how they act and where they buy from. And so, I think sustainability is one of the underlying tailwinds that's supporting us as a business and will help another tailwind that will hopefully help move the world in a positive direction.
Yeah, brilliant. And Vab, what about from Saatva's point of view? You've been an innovative brand from the start, haven't you? How do you see the future panning out?
Yeah, I think for us, it's important that we stay on that track of innovation. We really have set the North Star as being a focus on customers, and we've talked a lot about relevancy for them today. I think the way that I would summarize it is, sort of the motto that we think about internally is really not to just focus on top line business goals, but we are focused on solving customer problems. And if you solve your customers' problems, they will solve your business problems. They are intricately connected. So, that's our focus going forward. We continue to look at new ways that we can leverage technology to still bring our products to life and make it feel like you can really get a sense of what's going to be delivered to you and how well it's going to benefit you in the long term. We're selling a product that customers will spend upwards of a third of their life on for as long as they have it. And so there's a very deep connection literally with the product that the customers share. And our mandate is to make that as relevant and enjoyable for them as possible. And that remains our North Star.
Excellent, thanks. And thanks to all my panel for sharing their wisdom today, to Gregg, to Vab and Meghann. And don't forget, you can download the Emarsys unPrediction report at emarsys.com. We always want to hear what you think, so if you'd like to contribute to the discussion, you can do so on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn and Instagram. The links for these can be found at the top of the page at csuitepodcast.com. You can also catch up with all our previous shows and follow us for automatic downloads of each episode via your favourite podcast app. And if you've enjoyed the podcast, please do give us a positive rating and review. Finally, if you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can do that via the contact form on the website, or you can find me and the C-Suite podcast on LinkedIn. But for now, thanks for listening and goodbye.